In 1819, the good feelings started to subside, and the U.S. began to get back to its contentious disputes due to two crucial issues. The first being the Panic of 1819. This was the first real recession at that up until the 20th century. Economic downturns were called panics because of the effect they had on the markets. Uh, So the Panic of 1819 was the first real recession the U.S. faced as an independent country that was felt across the whole country. There had been economic downturns in the 18th century before the U.S. was a country, when it was a colony of Britain, and there had been some regional downturns based on various issues like trade embargo hurting New England and so forth. But this was the first time the whole country had a major economic shock uh, as a independent country. So following the War of 1812, there had been a speculative boom in exports and land acquisition, driven by inflation and the price of cotton. Local and state banks gave out easy credit for land. In many cases, land speculators had recklessly borrowed money. They would purchase huge tracts of government-owned land uh, without an income tax. Selling frontier land was one of the ways government raised revenue, especially to pay back war debts. So speculators would purchase this land, paying only a fourth of its full cost, and then sell the parcels to settlers with the understanding that they would pay the remaining installments. So the new states of Mississippi, Alabama, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri were pretty much populated using that method, encouraging people to buy this land at a cheap price, which is much lower than its actual value, with the promise of paying money back later. As long as the price of cotton and other crops went up, it would not be a problem for farmers to pay those installments. But in 1819, crop prices plummeted, particularly cotton. And with those prices, the land values also declined quite a bit. Now, a bunch of farmers owed more than their land was worth, and they could not make the installment payments they had promised to make based on pre crash land values. So, a lot of anger went toward the National Bank. The National Bank was supposed to put a lid on this kind of activity. Instead, corruption within the bank had gotten it caught up in the bubble and had even encouraged it. The bank's president, Langdon Cheves, reduced salaries of banking officers, reduced the payment of dividends, restrained credit, and forced state banks to increase their reserves and call in their debts, as well as stop giving out loans. These were all responses to try to gain some control over the speculation that had occurred. The problem with that was that those actions caused the crash to become a depression, and that lasted until the mid 1820s. Resentment of the bank increased, particularly in the South and West.